Judge denies Second Amendment claim for man illegally in the U.S. charged with having 170 guns. Look at his gun closet. He's got a
What's the problem? What's the problem? It looks like a shoe rack in Los Angeles or something. Except this is what he collects.
This is what he collects.
But this scares people.
Well, he is illegally in the United States of America.
I don't like that. That's not great. But I chose to skip over that because it's a very nice gun closet.
Yes.
He's got it organized real well.
Yes.
Where's he from?
I don't know.
That's a problem.
Where does it say? Here, we can find out. He's been in the U.S. illegally for almost 2 decades.
He's a citizen.
Yeah, agreed.
What the fuck?
His last name's Serrano Restrepo. So I bet you Mexico.
He's Restrapto.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Restrapto. Yeah, I guess this really kicked off in a different direction than I was anticipating. Because on one hand, I want to say, and I think it's fair to say, that non-citizens are not guaranteed all of the same rights and privileges that we are.
It's a big problem.
But if you've been in the U.S. law-abiding for 20 years,
right,
and then you get got, not for having guns that were illegal in, like, they don't have a serial number or have been used in a crime.
It's not
but
dirty guns.
You're a guy that lives in America, in a gun-loving country. You're participating in that.
Yeah.
And the fact that you're illegal almost, it's not like you just showed up here and were trying to get strapped. Like,
right. This is what I mean by the gun thing scares people. Like, if he was an immigrant, he's some nerd immigrant, some Japanese nerd immigrant who's been here for 20 years, and police went into his house for whatever reason, and he had a 200-piece sword collection. I don't think the story would be all this.
That's
you
true.
Know? It'd be kind of just like, this was a weird bust.
Yeah.
You know? And
man has ancient katanas.
Exactly. But I'm trying to decipher what they're trying to do, what angle they're trying to play out with the whole, oh, he's illegal, but then he's also been here 20 years just fine working at Geico, and then he has these guns or whatever. It's like, what are you trying to say?
Yeah.
What are you trying to implicate? I don't really know.
This almost points, I thought this was going to be a story where, cut and dried, I would think, illegal guy shows up here, attempts to procure guns, which is not something that you're allowed to do as not a citizen here, case closed. But now it feels like a problem of our government because he's here 20 years as a good man.
It'd be one thing if he came here 6 weeks ago and he had 120 guns in the fucking closet. I'd be like, this is the problem with our country.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But now I'm saying it in a different way because he's been here almost as long as my mom's been here. What the fuck ever. And, you know, she's no criminal.
Right.
Really. And in some ways, but not like this.
Sure. Yeah.
Not like this. He's probably less of a criminal than my mom is.
Oh, that's probably true.
Yeah, so I don't know how I feel about this. This is a weird one. I don't like that he has the guns. I think some of them should be taken. And then I can't justify why even some. You know? It just feels like a lot of guns.
Yeah, that's really the problem is because...
For not a citizen to have.
Yeah, because...
Even for a citizen to have.
Well, and as a citizen, I think you gotta go on the side of you're allowed to have guns.
Yeah.
You can have all 170 of these guns.
Yeah.
That's not on me. As a non-citizen, the question then becomes, it's as a law-abiding non-citizen, essentially, aside from the fact that you showed up here illegally. But if we accept that, the question then becomes, are they allowed to have no guns or guns?
Yeah, you have to say no guns. Well, you don't have to, but I do.
I think
no guns.
That's probably the easier of them. Yeah.
Some undocumented person just going around causing mayhem, you know?
Yeah.
You can't have that. But then at the same time, they haven't really given us any other details. Like, what has he done? What are they scared that he's going to do?
Let's, well, it was the ATF. And first off, the ATF is full of criminals.
Yeah.
The ATF is more than most other police forces. The ATF is full of criminals.
That's probably why they took his guns. They said, we need these.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
They need those. The ATF and DEA have been doing civil forfeitures in airports of people who just have large amounts of cash, even if it's perfectly legal. And it is perfectly legal to carry cash in the U.S. as much as you'd like. And
Not if ATF's on the shift.
And dude, they literally tell you you're free, but your bag's not free. Then when they confiscate your money, they file for a court case of United States versus the amount of money you have. And guess what can't defend itself?
Money.
Money.
Yeah, it don't
So
got
they
a mouth.
win. Yeah.
Money doesn't got a mouth.
No.
What are they doing? That's illegal as fuck.
It's super illegal, and then it's like damn near
Well,
impossible
if you're
to
gonna
get it
do
back.
shit like that, yeah, you need a whole lot of guns to back up your actions. So they're gonna take undocumented people's guns. They're gonna take our guns. They're gonna be like Canada, make us all turn in our guns in a year, and then ship them to Ukraine and ATF.
Yeah.
Nasty.
Disgusting, like the Canadians are trying to do.
It's real gross.
So, a federal judge denied his motion to dismiss the charge, saying disarming unlawful immigrants like Mr. Serrano Restrepo, who have not sworn allegiance to the United States, comports with the nation's history and tradition of firearm regulations. The swearing of an oath of allegiance occurs through the naturalization process, not through his asylum application or his years of living in the United States. While
I would say it's the total opposite. If you've been here 20 years, not creating any fucking problems, what greater way to show allegiance?
Yeah, agreed. I feel like there's something about having kids.
Yeah.
If you have a kid, if you have a family here, and you're not out here, you can't even go back to Mexico if you're illegal because you might not be able to make it back.
Right.
So
it's like,
you've literally pledged as much allegiance as one humanly can. You've
Exactly.
given your whole family and yeah.
especially compared to what you just told me, these ATF motherfuckers, didn't they take oaths? You know?
Yeah. To steal from American citizens.
Exactly. What the fuck? You actually took an oath. Compared to this guy who was like, he's a potential threat because he hasn't taken the oath. You've taken the oath and you hurt people. So what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah. Now, I think we can agree. If you've been here, less than a couple of years, say 5 years or less,
Yeah.
like you're way too fresh for us to even contemplate allowing you to purchase a firearm if you did not appear here legally.
But then playing devil's advocate, I struggle with that shit too, because it's like, well, now you can see why duration of time here is kind of meaningful as far as the argument. 20 years is a long time to be here, and we don't have all the details. I don't know
Sure.
if he has no record or whatever, but just to say, let's say he hasn't done anything, it's a long time to not do anything. But if you've been here 5 years and you haven't done anything, that's, like it's kind of the same thing, I feel like. So why would, someone who's been here 5 years not doing anything not be able to have a handgun, but someone who's been here 20 years not doing anything would? That seems like a weird argument to make too.
Right.
Yeah. It seems like it needs to be based off of something. I don't know.
Well, and
I think this is why it has to be, if you're illegal, you can't have guns.
And I think that's where the judge is coming from, and
Yeah.
that's probably
For a better reason.
It's probably the better reason. It is one of those things though where even though that as a general rule works, that's why you kind of want to know more about the case, because you're like, dude, if you've been here 2 decades, it kind of feels
That's
like.
what I mean.
And the point, I think, to your point, it's almost like it should absolve you not of the gun crime, but of that you're even illegal.
Right.
Like, to be here
That's
20
the thing.
years should mean you're a citizen.
Right.
Now, how do you actually do that, right? Because there could be some fucking Talibanis that get
That's
sent
what I
over
mean.
on a long 20-year mission before, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that's
It's a
possible.
complex conversation to have. But this is what I mean by, like, you kind of need his track record of, well, what have you done for 20 years? And like I said, if he's like, I've been working at DirecTV for 20 years, now he's just a regional manager or something, and he happens to like ballistics and guns on the weekends,
Yeah.
well then, leave him alone. But you don't have those intimate kind of details, and you can't go case by case like that. So overarching, it needs to be, keep those guns out of your hands.
Right. As a general rule, it is certainly safer to go with
But
the
I
not
do
guns.
think it sucks that if he had had any other collection, 200-piece sword collection.
Yeah.
You know, a slingshot collection.
Yep.
A bow. If he had 200 hunting bows even, no one would blink an eye.
Yeah.
I feel like.
Yeah, it's an unfortunate case for an unfortunate man. There is another question too of how much do you as the prosperous country and the one with the clearly more successful ideals allow those countries subordinate to you to have the same privileges?
You don't. Next.
Next, indeed.
Just saying. I'd be great in the government.
Yeah,
I've solved every problem you brought to me today.